Hey everybody, welcome back to the Workman's Whiskey. I'm Bobby. Reviewing a whiskey I've been talking about lately, Basil Hayden's Bourbon, just a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. They also have, this is already high in rye content, but they also have come out with Basil Hayden's rye as well, which is in even higher rye content. And Basil Hayden's is part of the Jim Beam small batch line. I've talked about it a lot recently. Not necessarily because it's my favorite, but I just enjoy the entire small batch line from Jim Beam, which includes Knob Creek, both the bourbon and the rye, Baker's, which we reviewed, Booker's, which I would like to review at some point. That's the most expensive one in the group. Around here, Booker's is about $60 to $65. So it's one of those kind of payday whiskeys, I don't just go out and spend that much money on a bottle of whiskey anytime. It's more of a special occasion type thing for me. Why splurge on certain whiskeys for, 60, 70, upwards of $100 or more, when you can get great value on, just different shelves, not necessarily in the glass case, and I feel like there's so much value to be had out there that it's like I don't feel like I'm missing out on a whole lot. I've had the great ones now. I've had Pappy Van Winkle 23, which was amazing. It was great. I've had Johnny Walker Blue Label, several others, Hirsch 16, but it just, even though I've had those ones, I don't, miss drinking them when I'm, drinking stuff that's a little bit lower cost or a lot lower cost. There's so much, there's so many good ones out there, and Booker's is one of my favorites actually, but I'm usually getting it at the bar, or, just special occasions. I'll get a, couple of, couple, not shots, but like a double or something, and just sip on it, of Booker's. But anyway, this is the other one in the small batch line for Jim Beam, as I mentioned, and this was put out in, I think, 1992, by Beam, of course, named after Basil Hayden, who was a master distiller. Started off in Maryland in the 1700s, moved to Kentucky in the late 1700s, about 1796, I believe. He moved to Kentucky, kind of introduced his style of bourbon, and he did something a little bit different. He put more rye in his mash bill when he was making his whiskey, and people kind of gave him a bad time about it. Back then, it was different, and some people just didn't care for that higher rye content in the whiskey, but some people did. Some people loved it, and Basil was the kind of guy that was like, didn't really care what anybody thought. He was going to keep on making his stuff, and here we are, over 200 years later, still talking about him. You see this stuff here, this whiskey here. You see Old Granddad, the old man, the picture of the old man on Old Granddad, that's Basil Hayden. That was put out by his grandson, Raymond B. Hayden, after his death, I believe, after Basil Hayden's death. And, just keeping the name alive, kind of keeping that high rye mash bill alive. Jim Beam, of course, has kind of tried to replicate Basil Hayden's style of whiskey, which is, to me, I love high rye whiskeys. I really do. I love straight rye whiskeys. I love bourbons that have a high rye mash bill. And I wanted to talk about this one today, definitely. One thing I'm going to tell you is this used to be an 8-year-old product, and they have since taken the age statement off the bottle. I think in about 2014, 2015, they removed the age statement. And it just says artfully aged now, which who knows what that means. I've heard some people say, though, that there's a lot of negative talk about Basil Hayden's bourbon from people out there. Don't quite understand it. There are better whiskeys, even in the Jim Beam small batch line. I have, this might be my least favorite in the small batch line, but I still like it. And people talk about, the age statement, how it's a young whiskey now. It's not a young whiskey now. Jim Beam, to my knowledge, doesn't put out anything less than 4 years old. Maybe 4 years is young to some people, but when I think of a young whiskey, I think of something 2 years old, maybe even younger. I believe for it to be a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, I believe it has to be at least 2 years old. But I've had whiskeys even on here recently that were only aged for 6 months, 8 months, something like that. And this one here, even though they've taken the 8-year age statement off, I've tried it since they changed it. I've had, as I said, I had the 8-year when they were still putting it out, and I do taste the difference for sure. But I would still venture to say this one is at least 4 to 6 years old. I would put it right around 4 or 5 years. Probably more like 5 years. And that's not a problem to me if the juice is good. I shouldn't say it's not a problem because, I wish whiskey companies would stop doing this. I wish they would stop, with this one, with Elijah Craig. They've taken the 12-year age statement off, and I wish they'd stop messing around. I understand they have product to put out and all that, and but you kind of get what you pay for, although they're not lowering the price on this one here, even though this is no longer 8 years. I see it a lot of times, $50 to $55 a bottle, and I kind of made out really well with this one at $32.99, about $35 out the door. And guys, I want to talk about this more. It's got kind of a bad reputation from some people. Some people call it a hipster whiskey, and some people like to make fun of the label. It's this paper like sleeve or something that they put over it. It's got a little like copper band around there, the BH for Basil Hayden's. Some people cut it down because of these things, and I don't care. I really don't care what the bottle looks like when it comes down to it. A bottle might catch my eye here and there, but overall, it's the juice in the bottle that counts. That's what matters the most, and what kind of deal you're getting. So let's just open this up. Been doing a lot of talking, so a nice little generous pour there. Okay. All right, guys. Now I'll read the back of the bottle too. It says, "Artfully aged in Kentucky hillside rack houses, then bottled at a smooth 80 proof. Basil Hayden's sophisticated taste remains true to the old family recipe. With more rye than a traditional bourbon and its trademark spicy finish, it's easy to enjoy Basil Hayden's any way you like." So, again, back to that artfully aged thing. It's like, they had to put something, kind of word something fancy to, make up for the fact that they've taken the age statement off. So, whatever. Let's get to the product and see, if it's worth its money. So, on the color there, it's kind of a nice light orange color. Kind of a light amber, I guess you could say. Not too dark, not too light. Kind of right there in the middle. So, who knows? And on the nose there, guys, definitely get a nice hit of rye. Definitely tell this is a high rye mash bill whiskey. Definitely get some vanilla in there. little bit of a toffee note in there, a little bit of wood, a little bit of citrus fruit is what I get. Kind of orange peels or lemon peels. That's kind of what makes up the nose on this one. Let's give it a taste. And I'll say this, guys. It's got great rye in the mash bill. On the palate there. Great rye. Back to the kind of citrus notes. There's also some, maybe a little bit of a cherry note in there as well, though. Some vanilla, definitely. A little bit of a toffee or like a caramel type note. A little bit of a barrel in there for sure, the wood. I like a little bit of oak in that in the whiskeys. It's always a nice note there. But what I'll say about this is, for a high rye whiskey, there's really no kick to it. There's no. It's not a full bodied whiskey. It's pretty light, pretty smooth, almost too smooth. This one I really feel would benefit being higher. It's only 80 proof, by far the lowest of the proofing in the Jim Beam small batch line. This is 80 proof. Both Knob Creek rye and the bourbon are 100 proof apiece. Baker's is 107 proof, and I believe Booker's is right up near 128 proof. So cask strength, so a bit higher there. And this one, as I said, 80 proof. I really feel like this would benefit being up. It doesn't have to be as high as those other ones I mentioned, but this one would do really well right around 90 to 94 proof, in my opinion. It just needs a little more, zing, There's not it's just a very kind of light whiskey. Not as light as some of the other ones we've reviewed on here, but for what it is, it's a high rye mash, or high rye content in the mash bill, I should say. But it just it's got that rye spice, but and I'll take on all the rye spice you can give me, to be honest with you. And when I'm drinking a whiskey that I know that I'm drinking it because it has high rye, but I feel like there needs to be a little more behind it. For a rating, it depends on what you pay for this one. Really, it depends on what you pay for this one. If you're paying what I paid, $32.99, $35 out the door, I would give this one a solid 85 out of 100. Not bad at all. It's a nice, easy drinking whiskey. Nothing wrong with it. As I said, it's a little light, but still deserves an 85 out of 100. But if you're paying upwards of $50 a bottle for this stuff, I wouldn't pay $50 a bottle for this. I would pay, low, mid, even high 30s for this, but no more than $40. So if you can get this below $40 or below, you're getting a good deal. It's a good whiskey. But if you're paying $50, $55 a bottle, it's not a great deal. The rating would go down considerably. If you guys are considering buying this for $50, I'm just giving you my personal opinion. I wouldn't do it. But if you're seeing this at the price that I've been seeing it at around here, $32.99 to $38.99, definitely worth trying it out. So go in with a buddy, get a bottle of this, or just try it out in a bar, see if you like it. Maybe this is your flavor. Maybe this is the whiskey for you. I like it. I would buy it again at that low price of $32.99. Definitely do not. There are definitely better whiskeys to buy in that $50 range. So, including Baker's, another one from the Jim Beam small batch line. So anyway, I think that's going to be it for this one, guys. I will tell you this, I'm going to go on a little temporary hiatus after my next review. Not too long, maybe 2 or 3 weeks. But I just have a few things coming up. Some family stuff, all good stuff. We do a little getaway every year. So going to probably do that at some point and get back to you guys after that. But my next review, before I leave, will be I won't say what it is, but I will say that it's a very good, very, very good whiskey. It's actually one of my favorites, to be honest with you, and I got an amazing deal on it. We're talking $20 for a great, great whiskey, and can't wait to talk to you guys about that one. And that's it. I hope you guys have a good weekend, and until next time, cheers.